Hey Andre, we've got some breaking news because we've just gotten spy images of the brand new 2023 Ford Ranger.
Yeah, that's right. It's right here. It's already on tfltruck.com. But this is very important, dude, because the Ranger is a big truck. It just had a good year in 2020. So what do we see from this upcoming new truck?
Yeah, let's go over that. But before we do that, let me tell you what we're going to talk about in this video because it's more than just a 2023 Ford Ranger, right? We are about to enter the mid-size truck wars because there's a lot of new trucks coming to the mid-size trucks. And let's talk about, first of all, of course, the Ranger, but then the Chevy Twins.
Yeah, so for 2023 model year, it's going to be a huge year, dude, because the Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon have been kind of mostly unchanged, right, for several years with a couple of small updates. This year in 2021, we're supposed to see the new Frontier, right? The next generation Frontier. And of course, for 2023, there's also a rumor that the new Tacoma is coming.
Yeah, and don't forget Nissan's supposed to update their Frontier,
yes,
and Rivian, which is actually a mid-size truck.
Yeah, and of course, you know, there are others. We don't know what Ram is doing in the mid-size segment. So this could be very interesting.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about what we see in these photos. Now, I'm struck by how similar the front, even though it's camouflaged, looks to the new F-150.
Yeah, so you can kind of see in these spy images the kind of the LED signature light. And it seems to be like the C-clamp, right? That the new Ford F-150 and a Super Duty and all the other leaked images. And I wanted to actually point out this image. This image is a rendering that came out 7 or 8 months ago. And it has a kind of the C-clamp shape on the new, this was a rumor back then. But if you look at these spy images we got today, it looks kind of similar.
Yeah, let's face it, the Ranger has been around in its current state longer than you might think, because I remember being at the Geneva Auto Show when actually the European Ranger was unveiled, and it was pretty much the same truck, at least design-wise, that Ford brought to America several years ago.
Yeah, so 2019, you and I were in California, remember this? Testing the US spec version of the Ranger. And actually, so they updated the frame, they did a few things, the bumpers, the technology of the truck, right? And the engine was all new for the truck, which was a 2.3 liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged engine and a 10-speed automatic transmission. So they actually they threw kind of a lot of different things, using some of the old interior with the new powertrain and etc.
Yeah, so let's keep going down, kind of looking at what we see. It looks like the doors look unchanged to me. Would that be fair? I'm not sure that they did much on the side of the truck.
Yeah, so here's an image of it behind me also, and we're showing you all the images we have. The cab looks similar to what's there now. The mirrors look similar. The bed looks similar. And this is a crew cab short bed, right? This is a 5-foot bed. And you know how Tacoma and even Chevy Colorado and GM trucks offer different cab bed configurations, right? You can get a crew cab with a longer bed, 6-footer or a 5-footer. You can get a shorter cab. I think Ford needs to do that also. I think they need to have more variety in their Ranger.
Now, the one thing we don't know about, which I think Ford certainly needs to do, is update the interior. The interior of the current Ranger is looking a little bit dated in my mind. Ford, of course, uses sometimes a lot of plastics, and Ram has recently, and Ford as well in the F-150, really upped their game on the interior, and I think the same thing's going to happen with the new Ranger.
And I think we don't see the interior in these photos, so we don't have that. But the spy photographer who took these, he's putting it as a 2023 model, so available late 2022. So we're still, almost 2 years away from this?
Yeah, now, of course, around the world, you can get a Ranger Raptor. Like places like Australia have actually a diesel engine. Here in America, there's been a lot of rumors about a Ranger Raptor. Once again, maybe for the next generation. I don't see it happening before this generation that we're looking at right now. But we can talk about the Tremor Ranger.
Yeah, and it's coming actually very, very soon. We should be testing it at the end of this month. And I believe there is an information embargo to February. So we can actually show you all the information that we have about the Tremor version of the Ranger. And I think Ford is on the right track here, right? I mean, overlanding, camping, off-roading is huge. They have an upcoming Bronco coming out soon. So making their Ranger more off-road worthy I think is going to be huge.
Yeah, so once upon a time, the Tremor, of course, was like a hot rod F-150
Yes.
that didn't go anywhere. And then, of course, they took the Tremor badge and stuck it on a bunch of their Super Duty trucks.
Yes.
Basically gave them a lift, gave them more skid plates, gave them bigger tires,
More software for crawling.
more software for crawling.
Yeah.
And that same thing is going to be happening, I think it's fair to say, to the Ranger very soon.
Yeah, and also the same thing they announced for F-150. So they're taking that Tremor nameplate and they're making it off-road capable, off-road worthy nameplate, and they're putting it across all of their trucks. As well, at least the Ranger, the F-150, and the Super Duty.
Anything else you see in those pictures that you want to point out?
So a couple things, like this image right here, kind of from the rear quarter. The frame looks very similar to the current one. We can see that the front suspension is independent, just like now, right? So no big surprise there. We're not expecting a solid axle to pop out of nowhere. The rear axle is solid. You can kind of see the differential hanging down. But did you know what? These images are kind of dark on the bottom. There is no way to tell right now, I think, if it has leaf springs or coil springs from the Bronco. You know, this is built in Wayne, Michigan, and will be alongside the Bronco. So what I'm hoping, my wish list would be that they could use some of the suspension system from the Bronco and actually apply that for the Ranger.
Now, you just got off the phone with the spy photographer who took these images. Thank you, Brian. So did he hear the rumble of a Coyote V8? could we go so far as to hope that they're putting a big old V8 under the hood?
Well, it does have a giant exhaust pipe hanging out. No, he did not. I specifically asked him, what kind of powertrain do you think they're using? And he said, first of all, this happened very quickly. The truck went by very fast. He said he thinks he heard a 4-cylinder turbo because the sound was, kind of a little bit more high-pitched, a little bit kind of like an EcoBoost sound. So he himself, he didn't know, but he said it's probably not a V6 and it's probably not a V8.
So you think it's going to be the same EcoBoost turbo that's in the current one?
I think so. And actually, before the video, I was also talking to our producer and manager, Zach.
Yep.
And he was saying that if they did put the V6, 2.7 liter, right, into the Ranger.
A little baby EcoBoost from the F-150.
Baby EcoBoost, which is a great engine, actually.
Yeah, that'd be a rocket.
If it's not a Raptor version of the Ranger, it could kind of encroach on the F-150, right? The F-150 has the same engine. The F-150 is a more expensive truck. And I think Ford is probably watching this space. They don't want to cannibalize sales by putting a V6 Ranger next to a V6 F-150. But I think people deserve a V6 Raptor Ranger.
All right, so now we're going to go into the realm of pure speculation because Ford has not at all acknowledged that this even exists. But of course, we know that there's a Ford, the rumor is that there's a Ford Maverick coming,
yes,
which will slot in underneath the Ranger. The rumor mill, and these are all rumors because Ford has not acknowledged it, of course.
Right.
It basically says that it's going to be like, imagine the Bronco. Remember you have a Bronco, you have a Bronco Sport?
Yes.
Well, imagine the same thing for this, right? It goes, slots underneath. It's not a body on frame truck. It could be an Escape with a bed, basically, right?
Or
the
a Bronco Sport
with a bed.
Yeah.
There have been some spy images floating out of this truck. But if they do slot a truck in underneath the Ranger, that gives them a lot of room to actually make the Ranger a little bit bigger.
I think so, and I hope they do. I mean, if you look at the sales, right, Tacoma is still number one, right? Now the Ranger is really pushing GM, right, because the Ranger is actually stepping into the second place. GM is very close with the Colorado GMC, and then of course there's also the Nissan and Honda. But in order to get them more sales in the midsize segment, I think, like I said, they need a longer bed option for crew. They need more accessories. Remember when this came out? They almost had no accessories for the truck, right? I mean, they had like a roof rack or something like that for the bed, but they need to be able to accessorize this truck more.
Yeah, and I think that they do need more than a Tremor version. I mean, with GM having their off-road worthy truck.
The ZR2, right?
Yes, and even on top of that, the Bison, right? Mm-hmm. These guys probably do need a Ranger Raptor to really create some excitement. The Tremor is good. I'm not, for off-road guys and gals, but it would be cool to have something that is actually a true like Baja desert runner. All right, before we end this video, let's go through some of the other trucks and everything we know about them. Let's start with the GM Twins. You just mentioned them. And unfortunately, there's not a lot to tell about the GM Twins right now.
Yeah, so what we know so far is that the Colorado Chevy and the GMC Canyon will be getting a major redesign in 2023.
They got a new logo this last week.
GM has a new logo, so hey, they already started. Their new logo is supposed to be more electrification, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about electrifying the Ranger yet, right? Who knows?
Who knows?
We don't know if they're going to electrify it.
Doesn't look like that one is very electrified.
No. But, so the GM should have an all-new truck by then, by 2023. And the rumor is they're going to simplify. They're going to take out the V6, maybe even take out the diesel, the four-cylinder, and go with the 2.7-liter Turbo 4. You know, the engine from the Silverado?
Yeah, a little baby turbo.
Yeah, the baby turbo Colorado, that's the rumor right now. We don't have any confirmation of that. Then, of course, Toyota, there's a big rumor about that.
Yeah, Toyota's going to go electric.
Well, or hybrid.
Or
at
hybrid,
least.
yeah, at least electrified, yeah.
Yeah, at least electrified, and they're doing the Tundra first.
Yep.
So the Tundra is supposed to be a 2022 truck for the new Tundra. That's as we know right now. And then the following year after the Tundra, the 2023, is supposed to be the Tacoma redesign.
Yeah, so we do know that there is an electric mid-sized truck coming, though, and that is, of course, the Rivian. That should have been out now. It isn't. Now they're saying it's going to be out middle of this year, so we're looking at the summer of this year.
June, July, yeah.
That's a mid-sized truck, range of about 400 miles. You know, some pretty cool off-road cred. It recently did the Rebel Rally. It supported Ewan McGregor on his way up from Terra del Fuego to Los Angeles. Yeah, Rivian's been very quiet about their truck. I haven't heard much. I think they're trying to figure out how to actually build it.
Yeah, you know, when I saw them in New York, I think, right, I asked them, do you have a mid-size truck or a full-size truck? And they said neither. They said it's in between. So they're kind of trying to split this market a little bit, right? But it's also very expensive. I mean, the Rivian is supposed to start at about 72,000, and I configured one with a kitchen sink at about 95,000.
Yeah. So, you know, I kind of feel like they may have hit the ground running first, but gosh, it's taken them a long time to come to market. And since then, you know, they're going to be losing market share every day they delay. And you know, if we're talking electric trucks, end of the year Cybertruck as well, but that's a full-size truck or maybe bigger. So let's go back to the real, you know, current mid-size trucks. Honda just unveiled their new version of the Ridgeline. It's much more off-roady, I would say. They made it much more less urban and more country.
Well, more macho, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, kind of in your face. And I think, judging by these spy shots so far, I think, you know, Ford is kind of on the same track to make it a little bit more macho.
And then, of course, there's the Frontier, the oldest truck in the world, I mean in America. They revised it for this year by putting a new transmission and power plant.
Yes.
But unbeknownst to anybody why they did the strategy, they did not change the exterior of the truck. So I was talking to actually some of the Nissan dealers, and they were really frustrated by that because customers come in and they're like, hey, it's our new Frontier. And they're like, there it is. And they're like, it looks like the same old Frontier. But you got to look under the hood. And nobody does. So I think their sales have really hurt because of that. So hopefully soon they'll have actually a revised Frontier. We keep getting spy shots from all of you fans and viewers from Mexico, from the Navarro. But guys, I know it's Mexico and I know it's close, but the standards in America, the safety standards, the crash standards, and everything are just much higher. And so while the vehicle might look the same, I think it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, and we saw some kind of a leaked image when they were unveiling another vehicle. They kind of showed one image of the Frontier, and it looked more square. Like it looks kind of big, actually. So
I mean, the Navarro is a good-looking truck, you know, the Central and South American truck. But there are you know, cars that have the same name that are sold both in the North America and in Central and South America, but because of the much stringent standards here, they're very different vehicles.
Yeah, and they may have the same like power plant sometimes,
right? Or even the look.
Not.
Yeah, but when you crash test them,
yeah.
It's a really different result. So have I forgotten any mid-size trucks, Andre?
Well, I keep wanting Ram to do something.
Yeah, well,
where's
the Gladiator?
Yeah.
Gladiator, we're Gladiator. There's no new news as far as I can tell coming from the Gladiator. They just, of course, added a diesel to the lineup. They added the Mojave to the lineup. The thing about the Gladiator is it continues to be very expensive
And a very specialty truck.
and a very specialty truck. And there's some talk of it being so expensive that it's pricing itself out of the market. $63,000, for a mid-sized truck, which is what you can end up paying easily for a Gladiator Rubicon, is a lot of money, especially if you add the diesel option and the Rubicon option. It gets very pricey. And you just had it. You just had it over the weekend. You had the 6, is it 5 or 6 speed?
6-speed manual.
And what'd you think?
Yeah, I loved it actually.
Yeah?
It was a Sport S, so it was at the lower level of
Like the
trims.
$30,000+ one.
Yeah, it was 39 grand. So still, I mean, quite a lot of money, but you get a lot for that money with this truck. By the way, Gladiator had pretty good sales year in 2020. So even though they're very kind of high dollar trucks, very specialized, because you can put big tires on them, take off the roofs and doors and all that stuff, but they still had a successful year.
Yeah, and like you
Which is
said,
interesting.
what's going on with Ram? Are they going to be left out of the mid-sized truck party?
I don't know. I mean, they do have kind of a Maverick competitor overseas, right? They have small trucks. You guys have sent us many images actually of the Ram 700.
Well,
it's
Fiat
called.
has a small truck.
Yeah, it's a Fiat, but they put a Ram badge on it. So everybody said, is it coming here? We don't know. So we don't know what's coming.
And then, of course, Volkswagen has the Amarok, which would have sold like hotcakes had Volkswagen actually brought it here, but
By
they
the way-
continue not to because of the chicken tax.
Yeah, but Ford partnered with VW.
Yeah.
And this Ranger we're seeing right here could be rebodied as an Amarok, actually.
Wow, so all you European viewers out there, you may be looking at your next Amarok.
Yeah.
And the Amarok is a pretty small truck when you compare it to...
on the smaller side.
On the
yeah.
smaller side
Yeah.
to American mid-sized trucks. So yeah, exciting times, Andre. I think over the next year we're going to see a lot of news and new mid-sized trucks, and I'm excited because look, here's the thing. We're getting a lot of electric trucks coming out, and I'm going to can I make a prediction?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so as well as I do that 1 out of 4 trucks are sold in Texas, right?
Yes.
And yet, I would wager that most electric cars are not sold in Texas. I would think they're sold, in cities, places like San Francisco, LA, Chicago, New York, urban environments. And there's a lot of excitement. I was at the launch of the Cybertruck. There's just a lot of excitement for that truck when it first came out. But the problem is, it does not fit in a garage. The Rivian might fit in a garage, but the Cybertruck may not fit in the garage, and it certainly is not going to do well in the city. So my guess is with the electric trucks, there'll be a lot of excitement. A lot of like non-truck guys and gals are going to be like, "Hey, I need an electric truck," and then they're going to get the thing, and they may love it, but then they're going to try to park it, and they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, where do I and how do I park this thing?"
Which is why mid-sized trucks are important. For
They're
that
the most
reason.
parkable.
Yeah, they're most parkable. You can take them to any store. It still brings a trailer. And I think they have plenty of towing capability now.
Yeah,
with the
once
range.
upon a time, a mid-sized truck was like 5,000.
Now it's 7,500
Yeah,
pounds.
of course,
I mean,
yeah.
that's plenty, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's
unless
true.
unless you're like towing, big ass horse trailers or big
Well, then you
big
get a bigger
boats.
truck.
Yeah, or you're doing it for construction or something. Most toys that most people would have, side by sides, ATVs, motorcycles, boats, they're all going to be towable by a mid-sized truck.
Yeah, and then also, Texas you brought up, right? Big cities in Texas may have some electric vehicles, right? Dallas, Houston, Austin maybe. But I just went skiing just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And there were some tourists.
Yeah.
And I saw every truck I saw with a Texas plate
Yeah.
was a heavy duty.
Huh?
You guys love those big trucks because you can go long distance, right, in a very comfortable manner.
Yeah, and as big guys, right, Andre? That's why full-size truck half tons are the most popular class, because as big guys, there's nothing more comfortable than cruising across country in a full-size truck. And mid-size trucks do offer some limitations. All right, well there you have it, the new Ranger, Andre, 2023. It's going to come around quick.
Yes, I can't wait.
And by the way, guys, as always, check out TFL Truck where this is written up. And if you're interested in our long-term Silverado, it's over at TFL Bids. I think it's up to $39,000. Hasn't quite met the reserve yet, but we are selling it because, well, we just bought a TRX and a Raptor. And so
Yeah.
it's time for the year to end and the curtain to close on the Silverado and a new one to open on the TRX and the of course, the Raptor. And what did you do with the TRX today? You're doing something out there. What were you doing?
I did a towing video that's coming soon to TFL Truck. I wanted to test the new trailer backup assist system. But I just wanted to say, I was talking to a dealer recently, and they're out of trail bosses.
Really?
So right now, there's no trail bosses in the dealer. So guys, if you want a trail boss, TFLbiz.com is one of the only places where you can get a trail boss.
Get one, yeah, in great shape.
Yeah.
And then the video that we did last week, which is going to be published this week, I think the next one on truck might be this video. We did, for the first time, we did a tow-off where we took the TRX and the Raptor and took them up the Ike Gauntlet at the same time with identical loads and identical trailers. So yeah, we wanted to try something new. Interesting results, Andre. Super at the end especially. You guys are going to be surprised. In the comments below, we did a real MPG test, where we used
on the Ike.
The Ike. What truck do you think, let me know in the comments below, did better fuel economy wise going up and down the Ike Gauntlet? Was it the Ram TRX or the Ford Raptor?
With a trailer.
With the trailer. How much did we do?
About 5,200.
5,200 pounds, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Remember, check out TFLtruck.com for more news, views, and of course, honest and independent truck reviews. You saw it first.
Right here.
On the Fast Lane Truck. Ciao.